All right, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are in your part of the world. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Zarina Elamine, and this evening on the Power Authors stage, we are bringing to our illustrious place the author Carmen Renè, author of The Emerging Woman. So, this evening, we're going to talk about self worth, we're going to talk about personal growth. We're going to talk about the things that many of us hide in past relationships and the darker moments or the difficult times that we often don't bring out and share. We're going to get into all of that with author Carmen Renè, the author of The Emerging Woman. All right. So I'm super excited. We're going to start in just about 2 minutes or so. I want you all to go ahead and share this out on your Facebook page and any groups that you're in, anywhere where you know there is a woman who is ready to take her life back. She's looking to evolve and go to the next stage of her life. I want you to share this out. All right. Share this out where it's there. So today is a part of our Power Author series. This is the 7th of 8 authors who you've been meeting over the last 7 days now, over the last week. And they are all wonderful, amazing authors who are committed to bringing their messages out into the world, right? That is their focus. That's their goal. So this evening, you're getting the opportunity to meet a new author by the name of Carmen Renè. And she's an entrepreneur. You'll learn a lot more about her. But one of the beautiful things about what she's doing is that she has a multitude of interests and a multitude of ways that she is serving the community, right? A multitude of ways that she's doing that. And so you're going to learn more about some of her motivations, why she does the things that she does, and how you can hopefully be inspired too as well. So if you're joining us this evening, I want you all to comment and let us know where you're joining us from. We love to see where people are kicking in from. And we're going to have a good time this evening. All right, so we're going to get started in just about 1 minute now. 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute countdown. We're going to get started in about 1 minute. So share this out, comment, let us know where you're joining us from, and we're going to jump right into it. So I hope you guys are in for a good treat this evening. All right, almost there. You guys sharing it out? Yes, yes, yes. You guys sharing it out? Awesome. Good. And the comments, you can also leave any questions that you have as well. So you'll be able to leave any questions you have as well there. All righty. All righty. Okay, we're going to get started in just about 30 seconds. All right, good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. I am so excited because this is I've known Carmen, goodness, dang, yay. What? Whew, I don't know exactly how long, but it's been a long time. We went to school together. So this is like a coming of the ages. It's time for us like to come back, and we're seeing everyone evolve and do beautiful things in their life, start businesses, write books, just changing the world. And it's so cool to see people who you've known for so long, like the evolution, right? So this evening, you all are going to have the opportunity to meet Miss Carmen Renè, author of The Emerging Woman, the Nice Girl's Guide to Living Life Unapologetically. So as I told you all, this is a part of our series. You're going to be able to purchase Carmen's book on Saturday, this Saturday, which is our bestseller release day. It is the graduation of the Power Author Academy. All right, it's the graduation of the Power Author Academy. 8 women took the time during the pandemic, while there was so much going on, so much loss, so much confusion, so much strife. They took that time and they said, I want to put pen to paper and I want to share my message, my skills, my experiences with the broader world. And Miss Carmen Renè did that in her book, The Emerging Woman. It is a self-help book. It is a workbook. It is a straight to the point book. It is everything that you would want to kind of just really be able to reset your mind quickly and be able to move to the next stages of your life. So those of you who are just joining us, I want you to type into the chat box where you're joining us from. And we also want to see you on this Saturday. This Saturday is our bestseller day. So we want everyone to purchase Carmen's book and all of the authors' books on Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be live just like we are right now. We're going to be talking to these authors. We're going to be celebrating these authors because they are now in the 1%. Less than 1% of people who say they want to write a book actually do it. And these people are not those who just dream. These ladies, these authors are not those who just hope and wish. These are doers. These are the movers and shakers of society. These are the people who, when they see something, they actually go out and make it happen, right? And so we like to be surrounded by those types of people. These are the type of people I like to have in my circle. Not just the talkers, but the people that actually do. And all of them are amazing, good soul people. So you're going to buy her book on this Saturday, September 25th. And for those of you who have not registered yet, go to powerauthoracademy.com/graduation. And there you'll be able to register for this Saturday's event, which is absolutely free. And when you register, you'll also be able to win some amazing prizes from our authors. All right? Sound good? So let's get right into it. So we have Miss Carmen Renè. She is known as the Motivationeur, a dominating entrepreneur and businesswoman who is passionate about creating an environment and a safe space for the woman who struggles with operating in her genius, living life by terms and conditions that the world has created for her, but wants to be bold enough to operate in her true authenticity. From a young age, Carmen has always put her career first. She fell in love with entrepreneurship, learning at a later age not to put all your eggs in one basket, and has since established several businesses across many industries. She is no stranger to life's curveballs, and the road to a successful life and career has not been a straight and narrow path. She has added no ish taker to her resume portfolio due to her own life experiences, frustrations, chaos, and ups and downs from rejection, failed partnerships, relationships, failure in career and business, to the feeling of losing self and self-confidence. How many of us have been at that place at some point? Many of us, men and women, have been at that place where you kind of lose a little bit of self-confidence sometimes. At the time of writing this book, Carmen is an entrepreneur and still works a 9-to-5 job by choice. She is frequently requested by her community and peers to speak motivation, entrepreneurship, and confidence into those who wish to and need to receive it. In her spare time, Carmen loves traveling with family and friends. So I want to bring Miss Carmen to the stage and welcome her to the Power Author stage. Welcome, Carmen.
Thank you. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Awesome. All right. So I'm loving the purple. We got the same shades on. Get it. Hey, I love it. So, okay, Carmen, we go way back. Both you and I are from Detroit, Michigan. And Detroit is a town, I should say, where a lot of people like to kind of write us off. A lot of people think that, who wants to go there? Who would want to be there? The people that come out of there don't have anything going for them. We kind of hear that a lot with this stigma that's been placed on Detroit. And I'm wondering for you, this is a little bit away from the book, if you will, right now. But I'm just wondering for you, do you find that this Detroitness has affected or has influenced your sense of self in any kind of ways?
It does, because like you said, Detroit has such a negative feel about it when you talk to certain people. So I do find myself when I'm out of town and I say, well, I'm from Detroit, and they like, oh, like they get scared. It's not that bad. It's not what you think. So yeah, I do get sometimes negative feedback sometimes.
I was talking to someone one day and I was talking about the fact that like when you live in a place where everybody else around you likes to kind of put it down,
Yeah.
like I feel like it kind of brings a natural like force field that we walk around with, right? It's like you can put us down, you can say this, you can say that, but I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to take control of my life. And I think that that's kind of what you're doing with this book here, you know, The Emerging Woman. You're talking about women taking control of their life. You're talking about women living unapologetically, as you say. So, can you talk to me a little bit about that? And what do you mean by the emerging woman?
The emerging woman means that for me, I have went through different challenges, whether it was in career, business, even as far back as college, and going through those different challenges, and ended up on the other side, being positive, not bitter, not sharing negativity. So for me, it's looking forward to the future, regardless of what happened in the past.
Hmm. Looking forward to the future, regardless of what happened in the past. Okay, so like I know that you use this term living life unapologetically, living life loud, living life bold. Like, what do you mean by that unapologetically? Are you saying that a lot of women kind of shrink back, or what do you mean by the unapologetically side?
Yeah, I think we as women, especially a Black woman, we sometimes have to be quiet in our environment because we come off too sassy or
Mm.
too loud or too bold. And it's like, no, I want to be myself and be accepted. And if I'm not accepted, that's okay. And that's what I mean by living unapologetically. Be you, be who you were created to be. And if someone doesn't like that, that's their issue and not yours.
Mm-hmm. Because you named the first part of the phrase, the nice girl's guide to living life unapologetically. And when I hear you say that, I'm kind of thinking about people that have or maybe it's a natural part of their disposition to kind of want to bend and
Yeah.
kind of want to, you know, like make everything easy for everybody else around them. But what I hear you saying is that living your life unapologetically doesn't mean you have to shy away from your true self. Is that right?
That's correct. And a lot of me is in that book because I am that quiet girl, quiet woman, or introverted woman. So at times I don't get to, I'm not bold enough as I wish I was. And so I went through that process of coming out of that shell and speaking up when I need to speak up, setting boundaries, just not letting anybody say or do anything that they thought they wanted to do to me. So I am that nice girl who has transitioned to a more bolder person, not a more nasty person or loud person, but just more standing up for myself.
Mm-hmm. I let somebody punk me like maybe a couple of months ago. It was this guy that was doing some work for me in the house. And when I was looking at something that he was doing, and he wasn't really doing it like to my standard or even to a really good standard. And when I was watching it, like a part of me had this feeling of like, oh, he's already done this part. He's already done this part. So don't really rock the boat. Don't really say too
Yep.
much. And I didn't. I left it. And then I started getting really angry at myself, even
Yep.
more so than him. I started getting angry at myself for allowing that person to diminish my self-worth at that time. So how do you find that people can deal with like the issues of shame, the other issues, emotions that come out like when you don't stand up for yourself in those moments?
You said, how do they deal with that? I
Yeah,
think
how do you find that?
just recognizing that you are having that type of, or presenting yourself that way. And
Mhm.
like you said, you sometimes you'll get angry with yourself because you know that you should have said something. And so to deal with that, I really think the first thing you have to do is recognize that you are doing that. And then you'll have the opportunity to shift, or if that situation come up again, you'll know how to deal with it.
Hmm. One of the things in the book, you have a lot of places where people can have like reflections.
Mm-hmm.
Like throughout the book, you have these areas where they can come in and write, personal reflections and really get in tune with themselves. So why did you decide it was really important for you to add these moments of reflection throughout the book?
Every person's journey is different. They deal with situations differently. And so I wanted the reader to have the opportunity to look within themselves and be honest with themselves and reflect on what it meant, the information meant to them personally.
Okay. All right. So like we read, some of them your personal stories, we read some advice and such, and then we need to pause and actually reflect and be able to internalize it.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, in here, you talk about a lot of different subjects. Sometimes you talk about relationships. Sometimes you talk about, character traits and things like that, about authenticity. So, in the actual writing process, how did you decide, like, what you were really going to put into this book?
That's a good question. And that was actually very hard because when I first started writing the book, I was very angry.
Mm,
And I did not want to write a book that just talked about anger and bitterness and negativity. I wanted to also include some resolutions or solutions or learned lessons. And so, thinking it from that perspective, I was able to pin on certain topics and then talk about how I got through those challenges or topics.
hmm a lot of people talk about, especially with self-help memoirs, those types of things. A lot of people talk about the fact that we oftentimes write the book that we needed ourselves at a particular moment. Like we write the book that we could have used before, right? You're writing from your experience, and so you're kind of like, and you're kind of creating almost like a textbook for what you would have liked for yourself. So if you could go back, and looking at some of the things you talk about in the book, like relationships, for example, if you could go back, how would you have like implemented the things that you talk about in the book? How would you have really implemented those in those experiences?
Talking about relationships, I definitely would have integrated the vetting process. I know Dr. Nisa talks about that in her book. That is very huge to me because in my 20s, I wasn't thinking about that.
Mm-hmm.
But now in my 40s, 40, I'm 42, that is the top thing on my list. So implementing vetting, implementing boundaries, and sticking to those boundaries, those are very important things that I implement now that I didn't implement before.
Mhm. So I wonder, from the people who are watching, we have Miss Daphne from South Carolina. We have Miss Lydia from Memphis, Tennessee. For those of you who are watching, I wonder if anyone can really relate to this notion of, going through different experiences in life and not being really authentic, not having those boundaries, not having those ways of saying, no,
Mhm.
yes, in some instances, things to yes to things that you want, the real things that you want, and no to things that are not good for you. I think that what you've put together in this book, is really useful for everybody that is trying
Mhm.
to get to their next stage, to their next stage in life. So with this, unapologetic guide, if you will, because as you say, it is more than a self-help book. It's not just like a self-help book. It really is a full guide. It really is a full guide into different areas that we need to look at. So, Miss Carmen, what do you want your readers to really get out of reading this book? When someone reads this, and let's say they invest an hour, 2 hours into reading this book, at the end of it for them, what do you hope they walk away with?
I hope they walk away with being able to identify who they are.
Mhm.
I hope they are able to understand or have a better understanding of what the things they like, they dislike,
Mm-hmm.
and be able to insert those things into their life. And I just really want them to be themselves, knowing that it's okay to be yourself, regardless of who likes it or not. Always operate in your genius from an authentic place. And I think that you will go through life, your life journey, much easier. Not saying it's going to be easy all the time, but I think that it'll make your journey a lot simpler.
Mm-hmm. Well, what if I don't know exactly what my genius is?
So there's opportunity to, and that's why I put the reflections in the book. You have time to really think about who you are. What do you like to do? What do you don't like to do? What kind of company you like to keep? What type of experience you want to have? I have those exercise in that book, so you have the opportunity to figure out who you are.
I think the company part is a really interesting thing now because I'm kind of looking at I've been looking at who I allow into my circle and who I naturally gravitate towards, who I allow into my circle that are people that maybe I wouldn't necessarily like bring in, but they bring themselves in or such. And then I'm also looking at like, my real relationships, like people I like, people I don't. I won't say I don't like them, but I would say we're not really energetically aligned and such.
Right.
And so I'm wondering, like this thing about friendships and other types of relationships, not romantic, but I'm just making
Mhm.
platonic friendship type of relationships. Do you think that this stuff applies to that? And what do you think about, I guess, friendships, especially in middle age, like where we are? Is this middle age? Yeah, 40.
Yeah.
40 or so, middle age. What do you find about friendships and how does this play into what you're talking about?
Yeah, my friendships now, if my friends or associates do not match my energy, I don't want them in my space because I think energy can jump from person to person. And
Hmm.
if this person is negative, that negative energy can jump on to me. And I don't want that in my space.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm going to say, ooh, don't come near me. It's just that I deal with them from a long distance. And
Mhm.
so I think you really have to be careful who you really allow in your space, because like I said, that negative energy can jump on to you, or positive. If it's positive, that it can go that way too.
Yeah, so that stuff is real. Like one of the things I used to do in our classes and in some of the workshops is that when I do shout out the different cities of where people are joining us from and how they're connecting to the group, we have to realize that we are creating a little energetic force field, even virtually.
Yeah.
People that are on this broadcast right now, you're listening to Carmen and I speak. You're hearing our voice inflections, you're hearing certain messages. And even though there may be other people that are here that you don't know, like collectively, we are in a space right
Mhm.
at this moment, and we have to be very intentional about the type of spaces that we allow ourselves in. So, for those of you who are just joining us, we are here with Miss Carmen Renè, and she is the author of The Emerging Woman, the Nice Girl's Guide to Living Life Unapologetically. So, this is a self help book, but it's a workbook, it's a guide, it's all of the above to really help women look at how you can do the introspection work that's necessary to go to your next level.
Mhm.
All of us, I don't care where we are in our lives, all of us are consistently evolving and we are consistently emerging. And so, Carmen in this book has taken us through some of her own life. She's given us the opportunity to peel back the curtains and look into her own life with the understanding that she's using her life as a model or as an entryway for us to be able to explore similar ideas and similar instances in our own life, right? So when you read some of the things that Carmen talks about, you're reflecting that to your own life. Like how has this played out in my life? How have I set certain boundaries? How have I either ask myself certain questions or not ask myself, certain questions. So I want to kind of look at some more of these questions that you talk about, because in the beginning of the book, you have these 8 questions or so that you use to really get people kind of centered and begin to this process of what it is that they want to get into or such. So one of the questions here is like, what makes you tick? What makes you tick? And then what inspires you overall? So you have both sides, like what makes you tick and what inspires you overall. Why did you decide to include the tick part? Like what makes you tick? Because a lot of times they ask us, what do you want in life? How are you inspired? Da, da, da. But you also added the very important real question of what makes you tick. Why did you add that?
I think to really get to know who you are, you really have to truly know your DNA. So what gets you going? What excites you? What changes your emotions? So you can really take a deep dive into who you really are on the inside.
Mm-hmm. So what did you find for yourself? What you get pissed about, Carmen?
At that time, when I was writing the book, I was going through relationship issues in my relationship, and I was really mad at myself because I allowed so many things to go on longer than they should have. And I didn't speak up at first, or I didn't speak up when I should have. So reflecting on that, this book is really medicine for myself. It helped me to get through those different challenges and thoughts.
I love that, because writing is not just for the reader, it's also for the author. When you're writing these books, it becomes a time of self-reflection for your own self. It is really, writing the book is one of the most powerful introspection tools we have, and personal development tools,
Yes.
we have. Like, you learn so much about yourself. So like, when you were writing the book, were there times that you got triggered? Were there times where you were like, I don't want to talk about this? Like, how did you actually get through some of the emotional times?
At first, because I was emotional, I had a lot to write about because I was angry. When you're angry, for me, there's just so much I want to say. And then when I got over the anger, it was like, what can I talk about now? It kind of like, I got like writer's block.
Yeah.
And so that's when I really had to shift as well, because again, I did not want it to be all about this relationship, because it's so much more than that, so much more that women deal with in general. And I was able to pivot to turn it into something more positive.
Beautiful. So take me back to the moment, though, that you actually decided that you wanted to write a book. Because a lot of people have failed relationships. A lot of people got jacked up stuff that happens every day. A lot of people get triggered with different things, but not all of them are like, you know what, I'm going to write a book. And then I'm going to like join a program and show up and actually really write the book, So take me back to that moment when you really decided that, you know what, I actually want to write a book. What was that like? Can you describe it?
Yeah, so I am always usually the one who always motivating everybody else. And I really feel like my purpose is to help others on their journey. And so when it came to my challenges, like I write everything in my iPhone and in the notes section. So I got all these notes in the iPhone. And I thought to myself, I really need to get this out, because I know I'm not the only one that's going through this. And I felt like writing a book would be an opportunity to do that.
So I get that, but like, was there any type of like light bulb or something that went off? Like, I'm wondering, because some people say it, but they don't actually do it. Or are you just one of those people that when you think about something, you actually take action?
Yeah, I'm just one of those people. When I make up my mind or I see something, I just do it. I don't procrastinate about it.
Whew. Sometimes I'm poor, but sometimes I be overthinking, like, what about this? Should I, could I, should I do this? Sometimes that overthinking be knocking you
Yeah.
out.
And
It really
I'm
does.
actually I'm an overthinker myself, but I knew for sure that I wanted it to be an encouraging and empowerment type of book.
So let's shift gears real quick because in your bio, you talk about the fact that you're an entrepreneur in many industries and you also choose to keep your 9 to 5. And I think that's a really interesting balance for a lot of people. I want to focus on the entrepreneurship side because I like that sign. So
Yeah.
I want to focus on that side. And I want you to tell us about some of the businesses that you start and then how you get your, I guess, inspiration to actually implement and start the businesses that you think about. So I guess take us back to the first business. When did you start your entrepreneurial journey?
It was the back in like 2010. The name of the business was Inkspire. It was a
I like
business.
that.
Yeah, I thought the word was cool. Because the whole purpose of the brand was to help entrepreneurs be inspired and to run their businesses. So I wanted to take on the different tasks that prevented the entrepreneur from being a visionary and operating their business.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a more like a virtual assistant, social media manager. So that was the first business that I had.
You helped us.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I sure did.
Okay, so then what led from that to other things?
So I dabbled in that a little bit. I was, of course, I was still working, and then I, in my mindset, I have this service-based business. I need a product, but I didn't know what type of product, and so I just started listening to different entrepreneurs about how they built their business, and they would always talk about whatever business you have. Make sure you're solving a problem. Make sure it's something you like. And so I just thought about, well, I like things that smell good. I like oils, I like candles and things like that. But
Mhm.
is that helping anybody? Like, what problem is that solving? And so I end up going with the essential oils and essential oil products because oils have so many different businesses and it smells good. And
Yeah.
so that's when this my essential oil business was birthed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, those essential oils and stuff, just naturopathic healing, right? Like being able to take something from the earth that many people walk past sometimes and actually use that herb for healing and calming and all of that is really super duper dope. I love it.
Mhm.
So, okay. So what I hear from you, what I hear as far as a theme is that when you have an idea of something, you are one that takes action. One, you get inspired and then you actually take action. I think that that's a trait of good entrepreneurs anyway. You take action and you move forward. The other thing I hear from you is like, I won't say a lack of fear, but I'll say like a sense of self-confidence that it's okay to try different businesses and okay to try different ideas. Did you have any fear of failure with your businesses, or do you have one of those notions where, oh my God, if I don't make this into a multi-million-dollar business, like this one idea that, oh, it didn't work. Like, how does your mind work around those topics?
Well, I'm so confident now. I wasn't always that way. And it's always the fear because you never know which way it's going to go.
Yeah.
But I am an analytical person. I'm a strategic person. So I kind of plan out everything as much as I can. And so I come up with different ideas. I do research on the industry that I'm looking into. And so, like I said, the fear was always there. But I don't know. It's just this energy of just wanting to have freedom to be able to do what I want when I want to do it. And so that's what kind of pushes me along.
I can't go back now. Like this little freedom business that I built, like it's no way I can go back. I'm so thankful that I am actually truly thankful. I think about like the trajectory of our lives and things that you've gone through and such. And I am truly thankful and truly blessed that I'm able to live my life the way I live it and able to you know, once you learn how to monetize your skills, and once you learn how to live unapologetically, as you say, right, you can take those things, those ideas that you have, and then you can design your life. You know, you can live your life in a true space that brings you joy, that brings you peace, that allows you then to serve others. Because I
Yeah.
think a lot of us, and I wonder what you think about this, Carmen, I feel like a lot of us women are, because we're not living authentically, we end up living in that sort of fake third space, and then we aren't even able to bring our full selves to society and serve society as we really could and should. What do you think about this, like this middle space where a lot of women are walking around not living authentically, and how that could be a hindrance to society?
Yeah, it's definitely a hindrance because I know that so many of us are trying to cross over and we want to be able to live out life like we want to, but we're kind of stuck in a way. And two, sometimes, like I was saying earlier, we don't talk about that because sometimes we don't have a safe space to do that. And so sometimes we shy away from doing that and we just go with the flow. And so I do think that's hurting our community as a whole because we are so behind in so many things when you talk about economic wealth, entrepreneurship. We need people who have the experience and knowledge and are afraid to share, to come up out of that shell and share that with our community because we need it.
Hmm. So do you think we're stuck because you said, you know, a lot of women are stuck in the beginning? Like, do you think we're stuck because we don't know, or do you think there are other things that contribute to why someone could be stuck?
I think a lot of it is fear, fear of being rejected or fear that they're not smart enough. Um, and so I just think, and that's why I encourage in the book to really sit down with yourself, identify your characteristics and who you are, and just be willing to just work on that. It's a journey. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. So if you know that, I think that would really help individuals to really want to take that journey.
Yeah, take that journey. All right. So for those of you who are joining us, my name is Renè Elamine, and I'm the founder of the Power Author Academy. And today I am speaking to author Carmen Renè, author of The Emerging Woman, The Nice Girl's Guide to Living Life Unapologetically. All right. So this book here is a guidebook. It's a workbook. It's a reflection tool. It's an introspective, a time for introspection. It's a journal. It's all of that you can use when you are deciding that you want to evolve, and not just evolve, but you want to evolve in positive ways, right? You want to create a life that really brings you joy and then allows you to bring joy to those around you. So everyone can purchase Carmen's book on this Saturday. That's just 2 days from now, on our bestseller launch day, our graduation day, which is going to be on Saturday, the 25th, 3 p.m., you all, is our bestseller hour, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please convert it to your own time. So if you're on the West Coast, California, that's 12 p.m. For you. If you're in Mountain Time, I think that's 1 p.m. for you. You know, check it and see. Convert your own time. If you're in GMT in London, that's 8 p.m. You know, for you. So convert it, because we all want you to be there with us on our bestseller hour, which is going to be this Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And what's going to happen on that day, you all, is that we're about to break Amazon. We're going to break Amazon with 8 books by 8 diverse women who wrote their books during the pandemic. We're going to flood Amazon. We're going to go to those links and we're going to be buying their books up so that they get to #1. And also so that we show the publishing industry that, hey, you may not think that books like that are for women like us, or that these types of books are worthy. But what we know is our community. We know the types of messages that our people truly need.
Mhm.
We know the things that are happening in the homes, in the schools, in the churches, in the mosques. We know the ailments that our society has. and we know the experiences and the lessons that they can get in order to improve our society. Carmen is not writing this book just for her own pat on the back. Like, that's not what she's doing this for. You know, she put this to pen and paper so that other women can then live their lives a little bit easier, right? So we want you all to go to Amazon on this Saturday and be able to purchase these books. Now, for those of you who have not registered, I should say, those of you who have not registered formally, go to powerauthoracademy.com/graduation. And on that page, you'll be able to register formally, and then you'll be able to win some prizes. We're going to have drawings throughout our Power Author Hour, our bestseller hour, and you'll be able to win prizes. Carmen, give us something for the drawing. I don't know what it's going to be, but she's going to give us something for the drawing.
Yeah, I am.
Awesome. And we'll be able to win something from our different authors and bring that out as well. So you all can register at powerauthoracademy.com/graduation, powerauthoracademy.com/graduation. And that is where you'll be able to register, win the prizes, and also you'll see all the links for all of the 8 women that are coming out on this Saturday. All right. So, Carmen, we've been talking about this book that you so greatly wrote, The Emerging Woman. We're talking about these questions that you put forward. We're talking about, relationships and being introspective and things like that. Like, where do you see yourself going next? What's next for Carmen? Like, what are you emerging into?
I am just trying to still, for me, it's a working process with being more bold, being more outspoken. Again, I'm an introvert, so just trying to get out there and put myself out there, and just in many different situations, setting boundaries for myself.
Yeah. So with your businesses, do you have any other businesses in mind, or do you plan on growing the ones you have, or like what's your thing there?
So I actually closed down the first business, Inkspire, just because it wasn't lucrative and I wasn't marketing as much. And so I do have, like I said, Blissful Oils is the essential oil products. And then I just created another store called Wear Your Motivations. And it's all about uplifting, encouragement, inspirations on a daily basis. So there's t-shirts that have mantras, there's bango that have mantras, and it's all about prioritizing personal care and encouragement.
Or it kind of goes with your theme that you've been talking about as far as energy, right?
Yep.
And allowing certain people in our energetic space and not. And then what you're saying is that the messages that you put on your body also create, certain ideas and imagery and energy. And we want to bring that to ourselves and bring that to other people. So awesome. All right. So let's go to some of the comments and see what people said. And any of you have any questions for Carmen, bring those in as well to the chat box. Okay, so Ms. Lydia said, the issue of identifying who you are is one that is hard to do sometimes. Too often, I have made myself be what someone else expected of me. It has taken years to get to me, and there is still some work to be done. What are your thoughts about that, Carmen?
That is very true, and that's what I meant by it's the journey. It's not going to happen overnight, so you're going to have those hard conversations with yourself. You're going to have to look in a mirror and say, who am I? What do I represent? And it's possible that you might not even like yourself. You might not even like who you are. And so if that is the case, you have the opportunity to decide to change that into who you want to be. And again, that's different from every individual.
Yeah. So as you said, this is a work in progress. This isn't something that's just gonna happen overnight. This is something that we're going to be doing, continuously. And that's one of the reasons why I like the title, The Emerging Woman, because I feel like this is a book that we'll be able to go back to over and over and over. Like it's almost like something that we should do for a retreat, like the Emerging Woman Retreat. And annually we come in and then answer these questions because these things we're constantly changing. These questions we can answer them now. What's the day? 2021, and then 6 months from now, my answers could be totally different. So, like for you yourself, like how do you stay on top of this? Is this something I had to make as part of my regular everyday practice? Like, what do you suggest for people who are maybe not in the habit of doing this type of introspection at this level?
I think you have to feed your mind positive things. So for me, I wake up in the morning, I have a stack of affirmation cards. And so I'll just pick one and I'll read that to myself like 3 times. So that is embedded in my mind. I meditate in the morning. So it's like you have to get your mind set in order to go on this journey, because you can do all the things right. You can pray, you can meditate, but as soon as we walk out that door, all hell breaks loose.
Right. Coming at you.
Yes. And so that's why I think it's important to make sure that you guard yourself with all the positive things as much as you can. And that's why I have the Where Your Motivation brand, so you can look at your shirt or look at your wrist and keep that positive mind. So I think all of that working together can help. It doesn't fixes it, but it can definitely help.
I like that you at least give us an out because like this life be lifing, and it's like coming at you all the time.
Yes.
I try to think of myself as being a little positive Z, like be positive, be positive, but I began triggered. I was triggered.
Yes.
I began triggered. So I like that you give us, the permission to realize, okay, look, chick,
right,
come at you. And you're going to need to look down at your wrist and, you might need to look down at your shirt or whatever you need to do to slow down and fix this moment, fix this moment. So for those of you who are just joining us or you have not yet been able to really check out the book, I want to just remind you that The Emerging Woman by Carmen Renè, The Nice Girl's Guide to Living Life Unapologetically, is coming out, is being released this Saturday, September 25, hey, quarter 25, September 25, this Saturday is when The Emerging Woman is coming out. So we want you all to purchase it on Saturday. You can get it on Amazon and you'll be able to get the workbook. And then what I want you all to do is like get a girls group or something. It's called The Emerging Woman. So I don't know if a lot of guys, but you guys, you can go do it with the girl, like it's questions for everybody. I should say it that way. These are questions that everybody can use. But for us women in particular, I want you to get a girlfriend or get your daughter or get your mom or get your cousin or get your aunt, get a small group of women together and do it with them. Do it for yourself first and then have some other people that are in the same energetic path that you're on, same type of, I'm emerging to a better version of myself type of mindset, and do this with them as well. When you do these types of things and you're connecting and you're, having other people support you, you're able to evolve and emerge in greater positive ways that much faster, as well. So get a group, get another person, and then emerge together with this Nice Girls Guide. So September 25th is when you'll be able to buy the book. That's this Saturday, just 2 days, countdown, 2 days from now. Woo! I tell you, this stuff be flowing. Carmen, this has been a little process. Like, were there times that you were going to quit maybe?
About a million. A billion. Oh my goodness. Because during the writing the book, I had started my fitness journey. Of course, I have a 9 to 5, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with all the business that I had on the side. So it was definitely some challenges, but I got through it, and we're here.
Yeah, you stuck through. You stuck through, and that's the main thing. All right, you all. So I want to thank Miss Carmen for joining us this evening. It has been a wonderful time. And like I say, every interview, I really learn something from each and every one of you all. All of the authors that come through the Power Author Academy and all of my private clients. Like I literally learn something from every single one of you all. And for you, what you've reminded me this season is to consistently do that introspection and like don't think that, you're there. Like you're consistently emerging. You're going to always be an emerging woman. And the things that you talk about, the questions that you ask us to reflect on, the ideas that you ask us to dissect and look at really within our lives are things that I'm going to need to look at on a more regular basis and give myself the permission to slow down enough so that I actually can get this type of work done. Because I think sometimes, this is maybe be my last question to you about this, because I feel like sometimes, we're running so fast, we're doing so many things, we're starting this, starting that, starting this. And we sometimes feel like the process of doing this introspection work is slowing us down. It's like taking us away from something else that is more important. Like, why do you think this type of work is so important for those of us who maybe have sometimes difficulty with slowing down to actually implement introspection work into our lives?
I think it's important because I think many of us are out here being someone who we're not. We're not operating, like I say, in our genius. And that can show up in our families, in our relationships, in our marriages, at church. It just depends. And I just really think it's important that you just let people know who you really are, and be okay with that. So I think it's really important that we are living, like I say, authentically, genuine, and presenting the world or going out into the world with who you really are and not some type of fictitious character.
Awesome. All right, you all. So buy Carmen's book on this Saturday, The Emerging Woman, The Nice Girl's Guide to Living Life Unapologetically. Do your introspection work. Like when you get the book, don't just sit it up on your shelf and be like, oh, it's pretty. It's purple. Purple and pink. It's so pretty. Like, don't just sit it up on your shelf and look at it. Actually do this work. This type of stuff is the soul work. This type of work that these questions and these prompts and reflections that Carmen has put in the book, this is the stuff that actually makes your life real. Yes. This is the real stuff. This is the stuff that, like, when you're crying at night, it's 12 o'clock, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, or, you're driving down the street and you're stuck in traffic and you have those times where you're thinking about real life. Like, this is the stuff that really makes a difference for people. And you wonder why a lot of people focus on money, 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 money. And we already know that money, 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 money is not where it's at. It's not the end all be all. If it were, millionaires and people who have a lot of money, not millionaires, I should say multi-millionaires and people who have a plethora of money, they would never have any type of mental dissatisfaction. They would never commit suicide. They would never have any of that if it were just for money. So what I'm saying is that the type of thing that Carmen talks about in this book, this is what life is actually made of. These are the important things that all of us as human beings, that's what we're here for. We need to learn who we are and then be able to bring our authentic selves outwards so that we can make our society a better place. If you don't know yourself, don't think that you're going to be able to positively contribute in big ways to society, because your gifts are within you. If you don't know them, you're not going to be able to bring those fully out. So I want to thank you, Miss Carmen, for joining us this evening on the Power Author stage. I want to thank you for being in the Power Author Academy. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. And I just want to thank you as well for your platform. As a, like you say, we known each other for years, and so I've been watching you and following you, and I appreciate your work and everything that you represent.
Oh, well, wonderful. I'm really happy that you are here with us and that you stuck with it, because it can
Yeah.
be long, right? It can be, it ain't, I'm not saying it's easy to write a book, because it's not. If it were, then everybody would be doing it. But,
Right.
you stuck with it and you went through the emotional times that come with writing a book, especially an emotional book like what you're writing, right? You went through the emotional ups and downs, the valleys and the plateaus, all of those things, the plateaus and the mountains, I should say, the highs and lows, all of those things that come with the writing, and you stuck through it. So congratulations to you. Everyone, come see us on Saturday, the 25th. 25. We'll see us on this Saturday. We're going to be at powerauthoracademy.com/graduation. We'll also be live on Facebook. All of the authors, they'll be live on their pages as well. So there is no excuse why you cannot find the stream. But we all want you to come on, pull out your credit cards on that day, and get ready to buy times each of the author's books and help drive them up to be bestsellers inside of Amazon. And really, you all be able to just help them spread their messages wide, because all of them have hearts of gold. And it's time for good souled people to have the platforms. It's time for them to have bigger impacts. So thank you all. Carmen, any final words? Or how can they reach you? If people want to get more information or contact you, how can they reach you, Carmen? What's the best way?
They can DM me on Facebook at Carmen Renè, or Where Your Motivations. I'm on Facebook and Instagram.
Awesome. All right. Have a good evening, everyone. Peace, everybody.
Thank you.